What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you Splinterlands and Soulkeep content today. We also stream right here in this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, guys, let's talk about Soulkeep for a minute here. Now, I'm going to give my thoughts at the very end on why I believe Soulkeep is the sleeping bear of the Splinterlands, or sleeping giant, I should say, of the Splinterlands ecosystem. But before we do that, I just want to cover an interview that was posted here on blockchaingamer.biz by Double Coconut's CEO, David Fox. And most of the stuff we know already, but I just want to cover a couple of it in depth and share some thoughts. You can see here that there were, specific questions that were asked. So again, I'm not going to read the entire thing to you. They're saying that they're putting the finishing touches as it prepares for a Q2 launch. So that is hopefully within the next 3 or so months here, although that could be 4 months if we go stretch all the way into June. You can see here that they asked, how did 2023 impact Double Coconut and Soulkeep? David said they saw a lot of projects, some of which they were involved in, actually fall apart. But as they say later here, this is not something that either company ever gave up on, right? So did either of the companies ever think of giving up on the title? No, especially not after having come so far. Our two companies maintained a strong relationship and mutual understanding during the sorting out period. Now, I'm assuming the sorting out period has to do with the change in leadership when Aggie went over to the Invenium side and Matt took over as CEO. And I'm sure that was not easy or fun for anybody, but obviously Double Coconut is not going to, air dirty laundry here on how all of that went. But it is good to know that, the companies maintained a strong relationship, and it seems like everything is on a better path now. Very few details have been released about or revealed about the game. Can you tell us more about the lore? Now, here's the thing that I'll read this out to you, but just something to keep in mind. If you remember, Matt, I'm sorry, not Matt, it was actually Nate, had said, they wanted to incorporate the lore here and make it almost a game within a game of the Splinterlands lore. And now that it's a game completely on its own and they're not going to be dealing or working with the Splinterlands creative team, it seems like, they're going to get pretty crazy on what the lore that they have is. So this is actually kind of new and it's kind of exciting. Again, if you like diving into the lore of any type of game, this is going to be its own thing now. So the game story centers around a young girl from a remote village whose sister has tragically died. Their culture's way of dealing with grief involves wrapping one's eyes and sitting in blindness for a full moon cycle. The girl starts seeing visions of devious and single-minded fiends who are breaching the underworld and stealing fresh souls, including her dear sisters, forcing them to join the evil hordes. Our heroine uses guidance from her ancestors to summon ethereal towers and cast powerful spells to help stop the fiends before they can reach a critical mass. So it's the same kind of thing from before, but it's just not going to be a game within a game. So cool stuff, from Double Coconut, and I'm sure their creative team probably feels really. I mean, I don't know. I would just guess that, they probably feel much like they have much more creative freedom now if they don't have to, necessarily work within what the Splinterlands lore is doing. So let's see. In what ways will Soulkeep be integrated with Splinterlands? So all of the crypto aspects will utilize the Splinterlands platform at first. So keep that in mind. Pack purchasing, NFT trading and renting, and more. Players can use their existing Splinterlands and Hive wallet accounts to play and use the SPS stablecoin DEC or credits to make purchases. Finally, and most important, there will be a reward pool of SPS tokens with a good chunk given out. Okay, we knew that already. They don't say anything here about the SPS staking, so I hope that is still relevant, where you'll need to delegate some SPS, but maybe that's something to follow up on during a Splinterlands town hall, because I'm sure the Splinterlands team will have to operate and help kind of integrate that. They say, though, here, the main feature we're working on now is a daily multiplayer tournament where players, segmented based on their skill, NFT ownership level, and other factors, can asynchronously compete to reach the top of a leaderboard. So that's interesting, because we knew that they were working on some kind of like multiplayer facet to this. It looks like it's going to be a daily tournament where, I guess if you have the most games or have played the most games or earned the most whatever per day, you'll be able to make your earnings from that. So I don't know if it's going to be something. So just reading this paragraph again, well, I'm not going to read it to you, but just taking this into account, it sounds as though every single game you play may not offer a chance to win SPS right at that moment, but instead it's going to be something where the players who play the most and who do the best or reach the highest ranks on a daily basis get, a share of the reward pool. So That'll be interesting to see how that works. Again, I'm just speculating here based on this, so you tell me if you are reading it in a different way. And then let's see. Double Coconut has more than 10 years of experience of building games for mobile apps. How is it different from building games on blockchain? So he just goes into a couple of different things here and why this has been one of the biggest projects for them. Doing anything that involves Web3 and blockchain integration is a huge challenge. So again, I'm not technical, but I believe them. Technically, he says we are able to leverage so much of the hard work that Splinterlands platform team has already built in terms of actual on-chain transactions and helping players onboard, which is a huge part of this. You've said you're planning to further segment Web3 elements from Web2 in order to enable App Store distribution of Soulkeep, again, to both iOS as well as Android. What makes the game stand out among the vast number of already existing Web2 mobile games? He said, so David says, to be clear, this is a Web3 game at its soul. It looks like pun intended. We do believe that there's a huge opportunity, however, to create a strong free-to-play experience to onboard new players looking for solid tower defense fun and get them to understand the excitement and benefits of digital ownership. And then it asks, when Soulkeep is essentially what this question is. And he says the game was actually done. Some of the community were able to play it last year. I was one of them. You had to have enough packs, but we had some demo coverage here almost a year ago in terms of what was available at the time. But he says we will spend around 2 to 3 months to properly test the final Splinterlands platform integrations and to add in the multiplayer competition we feel is needed to make the game a truly viable and fun experience. Like many games as a service, there may be no real delineation line between the soft launch and hard launch. So they will plan to continue iterating, balancing, and bug fixing week by week, listening to us, the community that is so passionately and excitedly waiting for this game. So let me just share some final thoughts with you here. And let me get to the broader thing of what I wanted to talk about in this video. I genuinely think that Soulkeep is going to be this massive sleeping giant that's just going to awaken and wreak havoc in a good way on the Splinterlands ecosystem. And what I mean by that is the fact that, okay, you have a game that is utilizing Splinterlands assets, specifically the tokens, right? So SPS and DEC. On top of that, hopefully cards in the future, but there's no talk of that right now. On top of that, this is a much easier, it's like an easy to learn, difficult to master type of game in a genre that is, widely popular and loved and has a much more casual, arcadey nature to it, right? Like, so for example, I was just on a plane ride the other day and they had, games on the plane and there was a tower defense game. And of course I got suckered into it, right? Played a couple of rounds. So I know that, there's many other people out there. And to David's point, right, by offering a free to play version, right, that's going to be my next point, by offering a free to play version on the app stores. I mean, how many people in Splinterlands are begging, crying, pleading for mobile? Well, Soulkeep's going to do it first. And they're going to, who knows how many people they'll be able to just introduce the game to and bring in through that lens, right? So that being said, keep in mind, I'll give you 2 more points and we'll wrap up here. Keep in mind, going back to the SPS and DEC, if Soulkeep is popular and even is just popular within the Splinterlands community, if they launch new promo cards, if they launch a new pack set, right? I know that the Nightmare packs are out there and I'm sure they're going to want a way to monetize at some point. So there will probably be more pack sales or some kind of thing. Here's the thing. If people like the game, they will spend DEC or credits on that. Now, granted, the credits will probably go straight to the company, but DEC will be needed and people may have to mint DEC by burning SPS. So we will create yet another awesome sync that, again, it's probably not going to the DAO, but the team's going to get it and they'll probably recycle it through. But all I'm saying is that it's going to have this utility. And whether that's stuff that the team, will need or that they're selling, or cool, maybe cosmetic things in game that they'll be able to do. Again, just because, it'll have like a Web 2 element to it. If they're able to get cosmetics out there and you can, put your towers in these cool wraps or whatever the case is, or, dress your hero in different items, I don't know. But they'll be able to offer all those things as ways to, maybe add value to the ecosystem by burning DEC or even just utilizing DEC and offering it as a place where you can not necessarily sync it, but, it's going to have direct utility. So I'm very excited about that. Lastly, And this is actually a big one that I don't think people are realizing, but hopefully if you watched this video and the last video did about Soulkeep, then you'll understand. I don't know how big gamer.gg or blockchaingamer.biz are, but within the last week or 2 weeks, we have already seen 2 articles on Web3 or blockchain or crypto related platforms that have covered Soulkeep. So I don't know if, I don't know how big or popular these publications are. I don't know if this is, maybe they're just friends with David or the Double Coconut team. But either way, they are still covering the game. They are still covering the game, and the game is not even out yet. So I get excited about the fact that maybe, or at least I don't even want to say maybe, but it seems as though the Double Coconut PR team is somewhat tapped in to places that offer information, media, entertainment to people who are in the Web3 crypto and gaming space, right? These are 2 different websites. Gamer.gg, it's spelled with a 3 instead of an E, right? And then blockchaingamer.biz. Again, I don't know much about these publications. All I'm saying is that in the past week, we've already seen 2 articles. What happens, and can you imagine what happens when this actually goes live, when the game goes live and there's new updates and features that the team are launching, or a new set or expansion or stuff like that? I cannot wait, because it seems as though they have their marketing on point or their PR on point. And like I said before, to me, this is a sleeping giant, because not only is it a big genre of gamers, or that has appeal to many gamers, but if you have a company like Double Coconut that has wins in the space already, that has a network and connections to be able to get this game out to the masses, and finally is creating it in a Web 2 mobile format for iOS and Android, again, to me, that's a recipe for some craziness that could stir things up in a very positive way within the Splinterlands ecosystem. So even if you don't care about the game, even if you're in Splinterlands and you're like, I just love the TCG, or I just love land, whatever, Soulkeep, blah, 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 this could end up being sending you to the moon. So I'm very excited about this. Again, I don't want to be, overhype anything. I'm just trying to present this to you in a way that it's kind of making sense to me. So you let me know your thoughts in the comments below. But that is all I have for you guys in this video. I'll catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.